Tomorrow morning, you'll walk into your kitchen and make the same breakfast you've made for years. Maybe it's a bowl of cereal with the heart symbol printed on the box, a small glass of orange juice beside it, a light, flavored yogurt because the label said low fat. You chose every one of those things on purpose. You chose them because they were the healthy option. Here's what nobody told you. That single breakfast can hand you more added sugar than the American Heart Association says is safe for an entire day, and you'll have finished it before 9 in the morning. Not a donut, not a slice of cake. Breakfast. And at least one of the 4 foods I'm about to name is sitting in your kitchen right now. Before you blame your energy or your weakness on your age, let me show you what's really on that breakfast table. Now let me say something clearly, because I don't want you bracing for the wrong video. I'm a doctor, and I am not here to tell you that food is the enemy. There's no poison in your pantry. Nobody snuck something dangerous into your cereal. That's not what this is. What actually happened is stranger, and in some ways harder to see. These 4 foods were never labeled dangerous. They were labeled healthy by the packaging, by decades of marketing. Sometimes, honestly, by a doctor who had 12 minutes with you, spent 11 of them on your blood pressure and your prescriptions, and never got around to asking what you eat at 7 in the morning. So you trusted the label, the way any reasonable person would. And here's the honest truth I want on the table before we start. Not one of these foods is going to hurt you today. You could eat all 4 tomorrow and feel absolutely fine. That's exactly why this slips past everyone. These work slowly, quietly, over years, through 2 specific mechanisms happening in your body every single morning, and I'm going to explain both of them in plain language so you can see it for yourself. This isn't about guilt. You didn't do anything wrong. You followed the guidance you were given, and the guidance skipped a few things. Once you can see what's actually happening, you get to decide what stays on that table and what doesn't. And before I show you the 4, do me one quick favor. If you want more of these plain language explanations, the kind your appointment never leaves room for, hit subscribe. And tell me in the comments what you ate for breakfast this morning and your age. I read every one, and it shapes what I make next. Now stay with me to number 1, because that food is different from the other 3. It isn't a problem because of what's in it. It's a problem because of what's missing from it, and almost nobody over 60 has ever been told this. But first, 60 seconds on the 2 things quietly happening in your body every single morning. There are 2 clocks running in your body every morning, and breakfast either winds them down or speeds them up. Let's take them one at a time. The first clock is sugar. The American Heart Association says a man should keep added sugar under about 36 grams a day and a woman under 25. That's 9 teaspoons and 6. The average American eats close to 17 teaspoons a day, nearly double the limit for men, almost triple for women. And in a study published in JAMA Internal Medicine, adults who got between 10 and 25% of their daily calories from added sugar had roughly a 30% higher risk of dying from heart disease than people who stayed under 10%. Here's how I want you to picture it. Think of sugar moving through your bloodstream like a fine sandpaper. One pass does nothing at all. You'd never feel it. But run that sandpaper through the same delicate vessels 3 times a day, every day, for 20 years, and you've got thousands upon thousands of passes. Nothing dramatic happens on any given Tuesday. That's the whole problem. Now the second clock, and this one gets discussed even less. While you were asleep last night, your body was breaking muscle down. That's normal. It happens to everyone, every night. The difference is what happens next. After 60, you're losing somewhere between 3 and 8% of your muscle every decade, and that pace picks up if you don't give your body the raw material to rebuild. Muscle isn't about looking strong. Muscle is what gets you out of a chair without using your hands. It's what catches you when your foot clips a curb. It's the difference between carrying your own groceries at 78 and asking someone else to. Breakfast is your first chance of the day to stop that breakdown and start rebuilding. It's the single best window you get. And a breakfast built on sugar with almost nothing else in it doesn't just fail to help. It wastes the window entirely. So now you can see why these 4 foods matter. Every one of them speeds up the first clock, the sandpaper clock, and every one of them wastes the second, the rebuilding window. Sugar in, nothing to build with. Morning after morning after morning. Keep both of those clocks in your mind as we go, because each of the four foods I'm about to show you hits at least one of them, and the last one hits both harder than anything else on this list. So let's start with number 4, the one that sits in almost every senior's refrigerator door. Number 4 is yogurt. And I want to be careful here, because plain yogurt is genuinely good food. It's not the yogurt that's the problem, it's the flavoring. Here's the difference. A cup of plain yogurt has around 12 grams of sugar, and almost all of that is lactose, the sugar that occurs naturally in milk. Nothing was added. Now take that same cup, stir in strawberry, or vanilla, or peach, and the sugar can climb to 35 grams. Think about that against what we just covered. For a woman, 25 grams is the whole day's limit. 35 grams is past it. In one small cup, before you've eaten anything else. And there's a second trap sitting right next to it, hiding in a word you've been taught to look for: low fat. When a company pulls the fat out of yogurt, the taste goes with it. Fat is what makes it rich, what makes it satisfying. So something has to replace that, and what usually replaces it is sugar, which means the label you were reaching for, because it sounded like the healthier choice, is often the one carrying more sugar than the regular version sitting beside it. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret was 73, from Dayton, Ohio. Sharp woman, retired school teacher, took her health seriously. Every single morning for years, she ate a light strawberry yogurt, because that's what a careful person eats. And every single morning by about 10 o'clock, she was flattened. She'd sit down in her chair and feel the energy just drain out of her. And she'd tell herself, well, I'm 73. This is what 73 feels like. It wasn't what 73 felt like. It was what a 30-gram sugar hit on an empty stomach feels like, followed by the crash on the other side of it. She'd been eating a dessert every morning and calling it breakfast, and nobody had ever told her, because the container said light. Here's how I want you to think about food labels from now on. It's like shopping the sale bin. The front of the package is the sign hanging above the bin, big and confident, telling you what a deal you're getting. The back of the package is the actual price tag, and you already know from experience that those two things don't always agree. The front of a yogurt says light, natural, made with real fruit. The back tells you the truth in grams. Tonight, walk to your refrigerator, pick up whatever yogurt is in there, turn it around, and find the line that says added sugars. That number is the real price tag. Now, here's the good news, and it's genuinely easy. You don't have to give up yogurt. You just have to change which one goes in your cart. Buy plain Greek yogurt. Plain, unflavored, unsweetened. It has less sugar and noticeably more protein than the flavored kind, which means it works on both clocks at once instead of against them. And if you're thinking, that sounds like eating paste, I hear you. So sweeten it yourself. Drop in a handful of real berries, blueberries or raspberries or sliced strawberries, and they bring their own sweetness along with fiber. Then shake a little cinnamon over the top. That's it. Same bowl, same spoon, same routine you already have. It takes 30 seconds longer, and it changes what that breakfast is actually doing to you. Margaret made that one swap, and within a couple of weeks, her mornings stopped falling apart at 10 o'clock. But if that surprised you, the next one is marketed even harder as a health food. Number 3 is granola, and granola bars right along with it. This one has the strongest health halo of anything on the list. Look at the ingredients on the front: oats, almonds, pumpkin seeds, flax. Every one of those is a genuinely good food. Put them in a bowl together, and the whole thing looks virtuous before you've taken a bite. So here's the question almost nobody asks. If it's just oats and nuts, why does it taste that good? Oats don't taste like that. Plain rolled oats taste like cardboard, and you know it. The answer is in what holds those clusters together: syrup. Honey, brown rice syrup, cane sugar, molasses, whatever the brand chose. The clusters exist because something sticky and sweet was poured over the oats and baked on. That's not a flaw in the recipe. That's the recipe. And it adds up fast. Some granolas carry around 30 grams of sugar in a single cup. Now be honest with yourself about how much you actually pour. Nobody measures granola. It's heavy, it settles, and a normal-looking bowl can easily be a cup and a half. Then a lot of people pour it over yogurt, which, if it's the flavored kind we just talked about, means you've now stacked two sugar hits into one bowl and called it a health breakfast. The bars are their own story. Granola bars weren't designed for a 70-year-old's blood sugar. They were designed to survive in a glove box, to hold together in a purse, to sit on a shelf for 8 months, and to taste good enough that you'd buy them again. Sugar does all three of those jobs beautifully. It binds, it preserves, and it sells. Nutrition for an aging body was never the brief. Let me tell you about Harold. Harold was 69, from Bakersfield, California, and he kept a box of granola bars in his truck at all times. He was proud of that, and honestly, he should have been proud of the thinking behind it. He'd figured out that when he got hungry on the road, he'd stop for something fried, so he put a healthy snack in the console instead. 2, sometimes 3 bars a day. And his A1C kept climbing year after year, and he could not work out why. He'd cut out soda. He'd cut out dessert. He genuinely believed he was doing everything right, and the thing pushing his numbers up was the item he'd chosen specifically because it was the good choice. Here's the way I want you to see granola from now on. It's a dessert-wearing hiking boots. It has the look of something rugged and wholesome, something you'd eat on a trail, and underneath the outfit, it behaves in your bloodstream a lot like a cookie. Not always, but often enough that you have to check. So check your pantry tonight. Pull out the granola, pull out the bars, turn them over, find the added sugars line. What you want instead is simple. Buy plain rolled oats or an unsweetened muesli and add your own almonds, walnuts, or pumpkin seeds. You get every one of those good ingredients that were pictured on the front of the box with none of the syrup that was quietly holding them together. And if you're buying something packaged, use one rule at the shelf. Added sugar in single digits per serving, under 10 grams. That single rule will filter out most of what's wrong with this aisle. Now, number 2 isn't even food you chew, and that's exactly the problem. Number 2 is fruit juice. And I know this is the one you're most likely to argue with me about. So let me be careful and fair, because you deserve the precise version of this, not a scare. Start with what's true. Whole fruit is genuinely good for you. Oranges, apples, berries, all of it. I want you eating more fruit, not less. Juice is not poison, and one glass is not going to harm you. But juice isn't fruit. Juice is what's left after you take the fiber out. That's the entire story, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's real evidence here. Harvard researchers followed more than 180,000 adults and published the results in the BMJ. People drinking 1 or more servings of fruit juice a day had up to a 21% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Meanwhile, swapping just 3 servings of juice a week for whole fruit was associated with about 7% lower risk. Same fruit, same sugar, roughly. Completely different outcome, depending on whether the fiber came along for the ride. So why does fiber matter that much? Picture a car rolling down a hill. The sugar is the car. Fiber is the brake pedal. When you eat a whole orange, the fiber in that fruit slows everything down. The sugar trickles into your bloodstream gradually. Your body has time to respond, and nothing spikes. When you drink the juice, you've taken that same car and removed the brake pedal entirely. Nothing's changed about the hill or the car. There's just no longer anything to slow it down. And remember the first clock, the sandpaper. This is a fast pass. Think about what a glass of orange juice actually is. It takes 3 or 4 oranges to fill 1 glass. You would never sit down and eat 4 oranges in a row. You'd stop at 1 because the fiber fills you up. That's your body's own brake, working exactly as designed, and juicing removes it. Let me tell you about Lorraine. Lorraine was 76, from Savannah, Georgia, and she had a ritual. Every morning, a small glass of orange juice on the counter, and she took her pills with it. 60 years of that. Her mother did it. She never once questioned it. And why would she? It's orange juice. It's vitamin C. And nobody had ever explained to her that the healthiest looking thing on her counter was also the fastest sugar she'd take in all day, landing in an empty stomach first thing in the morning with nothing to buffer it. Here's what to do instead. And it's not dramatic. eat the whole orange. Peel it, eat the segments, and you'll get the vitamin C, the fiber, the whole package, and you'll feel fuller than the glass ever made you. If you love juice, don't banish it. Just shrink it and move it. A small glass, 4 ounces rather than 12, and treat it as something occasional rather than automatic. And whatever you do, don't drink it alone on an empty stomach first thing. If you're going to have it alongside food, especially something with protein, so there's something in there acting as a break. Lorraine kept her ritual. She just took her pills with water and ate half an orange beside them. That was the whole change. Which brings us to number 1, the breakfast most doctors actually recommend, and the reason it may still be failing you. And here we are at number 1, the one I promised you was different. This is instant flavored oatmeal, those little paper packets, and the boxed cereals with the heart symbol on the front. Now, yes, part of the problem is the same as everything else we've discussed. Those maple and brown sugar packets carry added sugar, and both the packets and the flakes are processed to digest fast, which means they hit that first clock hard. But that's only half of it, and honestly, it's the smaller half. Here's the real problem, and it's the thing almost nobody over 60 has been told. It isn't what's in that bowl, it's what's missing from it. Protein. Remember the second clock. Overnight, your body broke muscle down, and breakfast is your first chance to start rebuilding. But rebuilding takes raw material, and your needs have changed. The old standard, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, was written for adults generally. For older adults, the Prot Age Research Group recommends at least 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram every day. More than a younger person, not less. And there's a second layer called anabolic resistance. As you age, your muscles stop responding to small amounts of protein. A younger body might start rebuilding on 20 grams. Yours often needs somewhere between 25 and 40 grams in a single sitting before the repair process even switches on. Now look at that packet of instant oatmeal. It gives you a fraction of that. Not a little short, a fraction. So the meal you trusted most, the one you chose because it was the responsible thing to eat, is the one leaving your muscles completely unfed at the exact moment they're asking to be fed. Let me tell you about Walter. Walter was 78, from Erie, Pennsylvania. Every morning for 10 years, the same bowl of heart-healthy cereal, because his doctor had once mentioned his cholesterol, and Walter was not a man who ignored instructions. Over those years, he noticed jar lids getting harder to open, then the grocery bags, then hauling himself up out of the recliner. And he did what every single one of us does. He said, "Well, I'm 78." He was following the advice he'd been given, faithfully, and it was quietly incomplete. Nobody had told him that a bowl of cereal asks his body to rebuild and gives it nothing to rebuild with. That's the picture I want to leave you with. It's like sending a crew out to repair a wall every single morning and handing them no bricks. They show up. They're ready. There's just nothing there. Do that a few hundred mornings in a row and the wall doesn't fall down dramatically? It just gets a little thinner each year until one day the lid won't turn. So here's the fix, and it's the simplest one on this list. Stop building breakfast around the grain. Build it around the protein. Keep the oats if you love them. Just use steel cut or plain rolled instead of the flavored packet. Then put something real beside it. 2 or 3 eggs, a scoop of plain Greek yogurt, a bowl of cottage cheese. The grain becomes the side dish, and the protein becomes the meal. Walter added 3 eggs to his morning. That's all. Same cereal, eggs alongside. So if 4 of the most trusted breakfasts are working against you, what does a good one actually look like? Let's turn all of this into something you can actually do starting tonight, and none of it costs you a thing. Tonight, go to your kitchen and pick up 4 things: the yogurt, the granola or the bars, the juice, the oatmeal packets or the cereal box. Turn every one of them around. Ignore the front completely, all those confident words, and find the single line that says added sugars. That's the real price tag. You're not throwing anything away yet. You're just looking, because once you've seen those 4 numbers, you can never be sold by the front of a package again. Then tomorrow morning, change one thing about how you build the plate. Start with the protein. not the grain. Ask yourself what the protein is first and aim for roughly a palm-sized portion of something real. Eggs, plain Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. Once that's decided, everything else becomes the side dish. Keep your fiber, too. Eat the whole fruit instead of drinking it, so the brake pedal stays attached. And when you want something sweet, reach for cinnamon or a handful of real berries instead of syrup or a flavored packet. Now hear me on this, because I think it's the part that matters most. This is addition, not deprivation. I'm not asking you to give up oatmeal. I'd never ask that. I'm asking you to trade the version that isn't feeding you for the version that is, and to put something beside it that gives your body what it's been waiting for all night. Nobody's taking your breakfast away. We're just filling it in. One more thing, and it's important. If you're living with diabetes, or you've been told you have kidney disease, protein targets are not one size fits all, and yours may need to be different. Take these numbers to your own doctor before you change anything, and let them tell you what fits your body and your blood work. Because here's the part I most want you to hear. That tiredness by mid-morning, the jar lid that won't turn, the quiet story you've been telling yourself that you're just getting frail now, that this is simply what your age looks like. I want you to set that story down because it isn't a verdict, and it was never your fault. You did what a careful person does. You read the labels, you picked the ones marked light and heart-healthy and natural, and you trusted that somebody had thought it through for you. That trust was reasonable. The labels just didn't tell you the whole story. Now you can read them yourself, and nobody can sell you a dessert as a breakfast again. Here's what I most want you to know. Muscle can still be built at 70. It can still be built at 80. Your body has not stopped listening to you. It's simply been waiting for the material, morning after morning, and not getting it. Breakfast is just the first chance each day to answer. You get another one tomorrow and the day after that. It's never too late to start feeding what you're trying to keep. And there's one more thing on that breakfast table worth understanding before you go. Before you go, one small thing. If this gave you even one fact you didn't have this morning, hit the like button. It's genuinely how this reaches the next person who's been blaming their age for something on their breakfast table. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming. And share this with someone you love who eats one of these 4 every single morning, because they've almost certainly never been told either. Now, I mentioned there's one more thing worth understanding. Next time, I'll show you exactly how much protein your body can actually use in one sitting after 60, because there's a ceiling and most people blow right past it. And I'll give you the 3 easiest ways to hit that number at breakfast without cooking anything complicated. No recipes, no blender. I'll see you there.